Most of us English learners struggle with one thing: speaking. Not because we don't know enough words, but because we don't have anyone to talk to. And because the fear of speaking. We're gonna get to that. But here's the truth. Not having anyone to talk to isn't a problem. You can actually use it to your advantage. When you practice on your own, you can feel safe. And this is actually how you build speaking confidence. This is how I built my speaking confidence. In today's video, guys, I'm gonna show you exactly how I practice English speaking, even if I'm completely on my own and have no one to talk to. Whether you live in a country where no one speaks English, or you live in the US or in an English-speaking country where everyone speaks English, but you are still terrified of opening your mouth, this video is for you. The first thing I did was to create an English environment around me. It absolutely doesn't matter where you live. You can make your space feel English. Here's what I did. I changed my phone and laptop to English. I started following English-speaking creators on social media, and for some time, I was following only English-speaking creators, no more my native language, just to stay fully immersed. What I'm proposing here is called the full immersion, where you are absolutely surrounded by this language. You make sure that this language is in every possible area of your life. So the next thing I did was to listen to English podcasts while cooking, while walking, while training at the gym, while doing some chores that didn't really involve my mind. For example, when I was, cleaning or doing something around the house, I made sure to always listen to something in English. The next thing, to-do lists. Every time I go grocery shopping, I make sure to make a to-do list or to-buy list in English. At first, all of that felt really weird, like forced. But after some time, I got used to it. My brain adapted and English became a part of my identity. So it doesn't matter if you are in France, if you are in Japan, if you are in the United States, you can live English. At the end of the day, when your brain hears English all the time, it finally stops translating and it starts thinking in English. The second method, my absolute favorite, that's a total game changer. You have to use it. I usually don't give advice like so aggressive, like you have to do it. But when it comes to the shadowing technique, I'm gonna tell you that you have to do it. You have to do it if you want to speak fluent, effortless, beautiful, natural English. The shadowing technique. What is it? Shadowing means basically copying native speakers or speaking along with them. I always talk about the shadowing technique, but today I'm gonna actually show you how I shadow native speakers. So here I have my laptop. So you pick a short clip, maybe 30 seconds to 1 minute from a movie, vlog, podcast, literally whatever you want. It can be even a song, but that's gonna be a bit more difficult. Then you listen once to understand what's being said.
Let me get this straight.
And you repeat. Let me get this straight. You can repeat many times until it finally clicks, until you feel you got it. One more time.
Let me get this straight.
Let me get this straight. Let me get this straight. Let me get this straight. The character in the show was doing something like this with her finger. So I make sure to copy everything. Her intonation, rhythm, even her emotional state and her gestures. At the beginning, it can feel very weird, I know, but later when you get used to it, it's gonna be super helpful. And later when you finally got it, you can speak with your favorite character. Let me get this straight. When you shadow, you can also record yourself and then listen back to compare your sounds to native speaker sounds. And here, we absolutely don't want to compare ourselves with other people. We simply want to compare our speech to make sure that we learn to pronounce words correctly. And shadowing native speakers doesn't mean that you have to speak like a native speaker. No, you can still have your own accent. We need to make sure that we are understood. And the shadowing technique is absolutely wonderful if that's your goal. There is actually research behind that. Studies show that shadowing helps you process speech faster, improves pronunciation, and even reduces speaking anxiety. So if you ever feel shy or stuck, this method can literally rewire your brain. The third method, noticing hypothesis. Let's take things even deeper. Speaking English well isn't just repeating words. It's about noticing how English really works. There is a concept in language learning that's called noticing hypothesis. It basically says you can only learn what you actually notice in plain English. When you listen to something or watch something, you actually need to pay attention to details. You need to pay attention to sounds, how certain words are used, or maybe where some sounds disappear. Because when you just listen to English and you don't really care, it doesn't really stick. But let's make one thing clear. As I said in the method number 1, full immersion, we need to surround ourselves by this language. We need to have this language in our lives. It means that yes, sometimes we are going to listen to English, but we are not going to really pay attention. But the method number 1 and the method number 3 connected together are really powerful. Let's say that 50% of time you can basically listen to English and do something else. And the 50% of time you actually pay attention. Here's how to use the noticing hypothesis. Make sure to notice the details, how they stress certain words, how some sounds disappear, how emotion changes the tone, how they ask questions, how the tonality changes, and then react to it. This is a very important part because reacting to what you just heard is going to engage your brain and it's going to change this passive vocabulary, meaning the vocabulary that you know but can't really use, to active vocabulary, meaning the words you know and can use, you actively use them in your conversations. So how can you react to what you just heard? You can basically use the shadowing technique, you can basically repeat what you just heard, or you can listen to a story and then pause and explain this story to yourself out loud. You see how engaged you become and how you train your brain to analyze what you just heard. I know it can feel a bit exhausting at the beginning, but the more you practice, the better your speaking is gonna become, the more confident you're gonna become. What I love to observe is the slang, the American slang. So at some point in my life, I became obsessed with observing how Americans connect speech and make everything easier. Basically, instead of saying, I don't know, I'm going to go to a store, they say, I'm gonna go to a store. I'm gonna, something like this. So from I'm going to go, they simply move to I'm gonna. Or how they drop T in many words. Instead of saying center, they're gonna say center. Or instead of saying advantage, they're gonna say advantage. When you repeat that over time, you don't just memorize words, you transform the way your brain processes English. So when you are alone, don't just listen passively, be a detective. Notice the details and then react out loud. The fourth method, guys, we are coming to an end. Narrate your life out loud, meaning talk to yourself. That's it. It's as simple as that. You can talk to a mirror, that can feel weird. You can basically do whatever you do in your daily life and just talk to yourself. Become your own speaking partner. Of course, talking to people is amazing, but at the beginning you can be really afraid of talking to real people, real native speakers, because you can be afraid of judgment. So this is a good first step. Or even if you are not afraid of talking to people in English, maybe you simply don't have anyone to talk to. In our society, there is this concept that when you talk to yourself, you are weird. Well, maybe in some cases, but when you talk to yourself to practice English, you are not weird at all. Okay, guys, here we have it. I'm gonna wrap this video up. Make sure to practice these methods daily. They're gonna work only if you do the job. Now you watched the video. Congratulations, I'm proud of you. If you are still here, it means that you really want to change and you're really gonna become fluent only if you do the work. I can't do it for you. I can give you tips, but now it's on you to apply them. Okay, so let me know in the comments which method is the best for you, which method resonates with you the most. I love to chat with you, so leave your thoughts in the comments. You can follow me on Instagram and see you in my next one. Good luck.